Ребята, давайте поприветствуем Ричарда по-настоящему! Ребята, так как Ричард любит бить мировые рекорды, я ему пообещал, что мы сейчас побьем мировой рекорд. Самое громкое произношение слова Virgin в истории человечества. Мне нужна ваша помощь, сейчас на 3, скажем, 10 раз Virgin. Начнем тихо, Virgin. И потом будем увеличивать громкость, 10-й раз должен быть 140 дБ. У меня есть децибеломер. Давайте, ребята, поддержите меня, для Ричарда подарок. Раз, два, три. Virgin, 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 Virgin. Ура! 135, ребята, 135. 135 decibel for you, Richard.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a lovely welcome.
So this is the present from Russia to you. There's so much love for you, for your entrepreneurial career. So let's jump right into it. What people want, I asked people to send me questions for you. And the number one question was, the secret of success. What is the secret? Because there's only 3,000 people in the world who build $1 billion business. And there's only 500 people in the world who build multiple $1 billion businesses. So it's less, what you did, less people did that than to run a marathon in 2:15. It's a really big achievement. What is behind this? What simple truth do you know that most people don't know?
Ouch. So I think the key to success. What is the key to success? I think the first thing that can't be underestimated is how you deal with people. If you, as somebody who loves people, who's good at inspiring and looking after people, then I think you can achieve pretty well anything. And I think over the years I've managed to surround myself with incredible people, a lot of people who are better than me, people with different skills, and I've given them that freedom to go and create wonderful things, to make mistakes, not, to praise those people, not to criticize those people. And I think with the right team, you can enjoy the successes and you can hold yourself together during the difficult times. So the team of people you get are the number one most important thing you can do. Lots of people have lots of great ideas. But without a great team to put them into practice, you're not going to succeed. I'm very inquisitive. I love to learn, and if I see a situation where I feel something could be done better, I'll jump in and try to do it better. And in the process, we've created some. Obviously some very successful businesses all over the world. But I think everything comes back to that team.
Yeah, this ability to learn, or the willingness to learn, is also visible because you always start a new company in a new industry, entering new industries that you have never done before. Even after you already reach success, you continue taking big risk because a new industry is a big risk for the reputation of the group, for you. What is the motive behind this action? What is the motive to constantly, never-ending, take this new risk on yourself?
I think it's partly personal. I mean, I never went to university. I left school at 15, and I've seen life as almost like one long university education that I never had. So I'm learning all the time. And And if I'm learning about the train business, I'm learning about the airline business, I'm learning about the record business, I'm learning about the space business, and so on. And it's just been a fascinating, it's a fascinating learning process that also has created, a lot of really interesting companies and jobs, and we've got nearly 100,000 people who work for Virgin now. And the interesting thing is, people, when we first were in the record business and we went into the airline business, people said, how could somebody from, who's entertaining people possibly, go into the airline business? But the point is, people who fly on planes, they want to be entertained, they want to have a good time, they want to have an enjoyable 8 hours, and the airlines in those days did not offer you, a great experience. I have told this story before, but I will tell it again, how I got into the airline business. I was in Puerto Rico one day, and I was trying to get to the Virgin Islands. And I had a lovely lady waiting for me in the Virgin Islands, and I'd been away for 3 weeks, and I was 28 years old. And American Airlines decided they didn't have enough passengers on the flight, so they decided to tell us all to come back the next morning. And I was damned if I was going to come back the next morning. I wanted to see my lady that night. So I went to the back of the airport and I hired a plane, and I borrowed a blackboard, and I wrote on the blackboard Virgin Airlines one way to the British Virgin Islands, $39, and I went to all the passengers who got bumped, and I filled my first plane. And when we arrived in the British Virgin Islands, somebody said to me, sharpen up the service a bit and you could be in the airline business. And literally the next day I rang up Boeing and said, do you have any second-hand 747s for sale? And they asked me what my name of my company was. I said it, we have the Rolling Stones, we have the Sex Pistols on our record label. The company's called Virgin. And there was a long pause, and they said, well, whatever happens, you should change the name of the company, because nobody would ever go on an airline called Virgin, because they'd all assume that the airline wouldn't go the whole way. And but anyway, they let us have a 747.
Amazing, but what is the energy behind this courage? Because what I hear is, courage, just taking big actions. And what is the source for your courage, for your drive? What do you think?
I suspect there's quite a lot of people in the audience who are thinking about whether they should start a business. And I think, if the first thing you have to do is to have an idea that's going to make people's lives better. That's all a business is. If you have an idea that's going to make people's lives better and it's not being done well by other people, then you have a business, and you just got to say, screw it, let's do it, let's get out there and give it a go. And the worst thing that can happen is that it doesn't succeed. And I think that in Russia, there's quite a lot of young people who are afraid of failure, and I think that goes back a number of generations in Russia. Whereas in America or the UK, people, I think, have got over that fear of failure, and if you try something and you fail, you pick yourself up and you try again until you succeed. And I think it's important that Russian society appreciates people who try things and don't necessarily succeed the first time. And from what I've heard, I think that attitude is moving and changing in that positive direction. You can learn so much from trying something. You learn, I suspect, more from failing. Obviously it's best not. But then the next time you should succeed.
Can you go into more detail on this? If you speak about failure, I remember Virgin Coke, and there's some other big initiatives that failed. What did you learn from it, and what do you do today as a result of these learnings when you start something?
Well, we thought we could take on Coca-Cola and knock them into #2 position in the world, and the Virgin could become the #1 brand in the world. And for about a year, we were succeeding. We were outselling Coke and Pepsi. But I made the mistake of arriving in Times Square in a tank and crushing a lot of Cola and Pepsi signs, and I think I woke up a giant, and they got a plane full of SWAT teams and cash, and they arrived in the UK, and the Virgin Cola just disappeared from all the shelves. So I think, what we learned from that was, if you are going to take on a company much bigger than yourself, make sure your product's much better. So, when Virgin Atlantic took on British Airways, we were a lot better. And when they tried to crush us, we took them to court. We won a big court case, and they backed off. But with a can of cola, you can't be, fundamentally different from the other people. So now we only go into businesses where we're, much better than all our competitors.
Okay. So to finish this failure, if you would imagine the audience would be you when you were 16, before it all started, what would you tell yourself? Like you tell it to the audience, like you're speaking to yourself when you're 16.
Well, yeah, all I would say to myself is, don't do anything particularly different. I think if I was 16, I have an idea. You fail if you don't do something about it. The important thing is just to say, screw it, let's do it, let's get on and give it a go. And obviously you know this as well as I do. The important thing is just to try it, and you may even find by trying it that other ideas spin off it. We started with a magazine for young people. We soon realized that young people were actually more interested in music than they were in magazines, and we started advertising, selling music cheaply in the magazine. And so once you actually get going, if you keep your eyes open, lots of other opportunities will come. But if you don't get going, that's fine too. You just make the best of working for somebody else, and you can have a great life doing that. But it may not be quite as exciting and rewarding as trying to set up your own business.
So you would not tell yourself, don't do Virgin Cola?
No, I think even by taking on Coca-Cola, it helped the brand. Although we failed, people don't mind people who take on a big giant. If David hadn't succeeded in dropping Goliath, David still would have gone down in history. So you shouldn't be embarrassed about trying things and not succeeding.
Okay, let's speak about philanthropy a little bit, because at what age did you have the idea that you're ready to give back? I know you created Virgin Unite, and that's why I support Synergy Global. I teach at the Synergy MBA program, because we believe, like you signed the Bill Gates Giving Pledge, and we are signing today the entrepreneurship pledge because we want to dedicate our lives that more entrepreneurs become like you, build $1 billion business and start giving back, start thinking bigger. So I think this is a great story and inspiration. So I would like to switch a little bit to you personally. What role did your personal brand play in your life and in your business? Because you are, I checked on Google, your name is one of the most searched names in business. How do you think about this? How does it help trust? How does it help to create something new?
Well, when I started, we were taking on somebody like British Airways who had 300 aeroplanes, Pan Am and TWA with 300 aeroplanes. We had one plane. And if you're very, very, very small against really big competitors, and you don't have much money, you have to use yourself to get out and promote your brand. I even went took fairly extraordinary risks in trying to break the transatlantic record for the fastest boats and trying to fly around the world in balloons so in a sense I put my life on the line to try to get the brand well known. They became great adventures in themselves, but they certainly helped put the Virgin brand on the map. They gave it a much more adventurous image than, say, British Airways, who we were competing against. And it enabled Virgin Atlantic to grow into what it is today. I think we have a very short video of some of the ballooning. My son just made a feature film called Don't Look Down, which is on Netflix, but we might just quickly show a tiny little clip, I think.
Sure.
I saw my light flash before my eyes. It was just me, standing on top of the capsule, looking down at the water. I wrote a note to the kids, telling them how much I love them. And then I prepared to jump.
Richard Branson's made a career out of radio division and as a player for self-promotion.
Virgin were getting bigger and bigger.
And I just had to use myself to get Virgin on the front pages rather than a little anecdote on the back pages. I saw this incredible challenge to be the first people to cross the Atlantic in a hot air balloon.
The prize was fabulous. Richard's words were hell. Let's do it.
He has great faith in other people. Misplaced in my view.
6 people have tried, 5 have perished.
The pop music billionaire is almost ready for his latest challenge.
I'm a little bit nervous, and of course I'm a bit nervous, yes.
I've been bringing him up all his life not to share his fear.
My mother had enormous expectations. I had to do some pretty extraordinary things in my life. Being dyslexic at school, I would get nothing right, nothing.
The first ever transatlantic hike in a hot air balloon.
I'd let it have been. I completely failed. I suppose I had a lot to prove. We headed up to 30,000 feet. It's beautifully serene. As long as nothing interrupts that serenity, there's nothing more magical.
This is specific plan. I think we're in serious trouble.
Somebody taken the top of the balloon and dragged it.
We were completely out of control.
And then everything went black.
Are you going to try it again soon?
Thank you. I think I've retired from doing ballooning. Obviously, our next big adventure is space. And I saw the moon landing when I was 18 years old on a little black and white television set. And I was completely captivated by space, and I assumed that one day either America, Russia, China would sort of really sort of open up the chance for people to go to space. And I waited and waited and waited, and it didn't really happen properly. So about 12 years ago, we embarked on trying to build our own space line, Virgin Galactic. And I hope, a couple of months from now, two maybe 3 months, Virgin Galactic will finally be in space, and the whole new space era will open up, where a lot of people in this room, hopefully one day, will be able to go to space and will be able to afford to go to space.
How much does it cost now?
It's not cheap, but to go up on a Russian spaceship's about 35 million. To go up on Virgin, it's $250,000. And in time, the price, well, in the short term, it'll go up a bit because it's cost us a lot to get there, but in the long term, it'll come down. There are three of us who are already building independent space lines. So there's Jeff Bezos, myself, and Elon. And we've all taken slightly different approaches. But I think, over the next couple of years, it's going to be a very, very exciting time for space travel. And we're also, building a big array of satellites around the Earth with a company called OneWeb to connect the 4 billion people who are not connected at the moment. I know we've done 1 or 2 videos, but let's just have a quick space video, I think.
Before we start the video, how many tickets did you already sell?
A lot of people. I can't believe we got people right up in the... Give us a wave from right up the top there.
Самый верхний ряд жив?
It's a big hall, a lot of people.
That's the biggest gathering of entrepreneurs in history.
Well, I've done a few talks in my lifetime and never spoken to so many people. I hope you've all had a good couple of days.
And they sent me a lot of questions for you. And the second most asked question for some reason in Russia, everybody likes life hacks. Some simple tools, principles, ideas that help you the most. What could you say are some life hacks that you actually use in your life that help you the most?
Something I never understand is how people can have a meeting and they don't take notes. I think that one of the things that's helped me the most in my life is capturing the ideas of other people. If I have a meeting with somebody, I will always have a notebook and I will always write down thoughts and ideas from that meeting. If I'm traveling on a Virgin Atlantic plane, I will get out there, I will talk to the passengers, I'll talk to the staff, I will listen, and I'll write suggestions and ideas down. And I think that's how you make an exceptional company over an average company. It's all those little things that make for an exceptional experience for your customers and for your staff. The last time I was on a Virgin Atlantic plane, all the staff had been given new high-heeled shoes. And I asked the girl, they looked great. I asked the girls, were they enjoying their new shoes? And they said yes. And I said, are they comfortable? And they said no. They said they create a blister on the heel. And if you've got your staff walking around with blisters on their heels, you're not going to have a smiling, happy staff. And so, obviously, I wrote it down. The next day, I looked at my list of things and made sure that the shoes were changed immediately. And I've seen other managing directors of companies. They'll walk around, they'll sound like they're interested in their staff, they'll sound like they're interested in their customers, they'll get lots of ideas thrown at them, they'll nod sagely, and I know the next day they're not going to do anything about it. Those same problems will carry on day after day after day. And yeah, so you know, there's no question that the note-taking, the ability to listen. I mean, I think a lot of leaders love to listen to themselves, but they're not good listeners to other people. You know what? I know what I think, so I don't need to listen to myself. I do need to listen to other people, and I think a really exceptional leader is somebody that doesn't hear their own voice very much at all, but is listening to everybody's voice. And you know, sometimes, you know, the people who are, you know, just working in a shop, if you go and talk to them, they will tell you whether your products are good or bad. They will tell you, you know, what's wrong, what needs to be sorted. You don't need to get in experts from outside to tell you why your business is losing money. Just get out there onto the shop floor and talk to your people. You know, talk to your cabin crew, talk to, you know, the people running your trains. You know, listen, write it down. You know, lead the way in the fun times as well as in the work times.
Thank you. And as a quick follow-on, how do you manage your calendar? What is your style?
I think, again, it doesn't matter really what age you are, but it matters maybe slightly more when you get to my age. Everybody in this room needs to find time for themselves. So, you know, if you're fit, if you're healthy, the endorphins are running, you can achieve anything. If you're just working and you don't look after yourself, you're going to work less hours every day, and ultimately you'll get ill. You won't have time for your partner, your children, and you know, it's just like a battery of a car running down. So you know, so I get up early, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. I play a hard game of singles tennis because I love tennis. I think maybe go kite surfing because I love kite surfing, and then have breakfast, and then, you know, then I'll get to work during the day on lots of different things I enjoy, because I enjoy pretty well everything I do. And then early evening, I'll go back to another singles game of tennis, another kite surf, maybe surfing. But I do things which I enjoy to keep fit. And then I often, you know, I mean, like tomorrow morning, I'm going to be on the tennis court in the Caribbean with Dimitri, the Hungarian, who just won the tennis finals last week. And it's interesting. I mean, I'm 67 years old. I can play a game of tennis as good as, you know, as most pros I know, and it's thoroughly enjoyable. And I think it's not, if you can keep yourself fit and healthy, you can achieve enormous amount. You know, I mean, you know, you can run a 90,000 people company. You can run sort of 20 or 30 different charities, and you know, you can look after yourself and your family and find time for friends. I mean, I think, you know, one thing I learned when I was in my early 20s was the absolute importance of delegation. And I think there will be a lot of people in this room who will be starting their businesses, and they'll feel they have to do everything themselves, and they'll feel that there's nobody else who can do things as well as themselves, and they'll refuse to delegate, and And this will carry on with most people, you know, for year after year after year. And that in itself will make them exhausted and tired, and their business won't be run as well. So, you know, what I always say to people who are building businesses, the most important thing you can do is take a week off, concentrate on finding somebody who's as good or better than you, hopefully from within the company, you know, because often you'll find that somebody actually within the company you can promote and they'll do really well. Put them in charge and let them deal with all the things you've been dealing with. So you can then maybe go and work from home for a while, spend some more time with your partner or your family. Start thinking about the bigger picture items, the things that really will make a difference. You'll have the time to troubleshoot when things go wrong. You'll have the time to push the company forward into exciting new areas. But if you're there running it day to day all the time, people always want to see the top person in the building, and if you're still in the building and you're the top person, all the dross, you know, all the things that waste your time will come your way because you'll want to be polite. You'll say, "Oh well, I'm here. I better see him," because you know, and it's not necessarily pushing you're not really achieving anything. You're just being polite. Have somebody else to do that politeness, and you can then go and achieve miracles elsewhere.
We are almost running out of time, but we want to take one question from the audience, and I know you have the first ever Virgin Connect phone with you. So we will give a gift. Who in this room has ever saved somebody's life? Please put your hand up. Кто спас когда-либо кому-то жизнь? Поднимайтесь, пожалуйста. У вас есть шанс задать вопрос Ричарду Брэнсону, и у кого есть смелость задать вопрос? Из тех, кто спас жизнь, девушка, давайте. So the last question will be from the audience, from a person who saved somebody's life and will get a present, the first ever Virgin phone. Молодец.
So, whose life did you save? What happened?
Кого ты спас? A child. Что случилось? Как это было?
Плавали на лодке на Катараме, и соседям там были дети, одному было 7 лет, парень был из Грузии, мы были на соревнованиях, на сборах, и ребята говорят, утонул ребенок, утонул. Я из 4 метров вытащил его, потом его качали.
We got him out from 5 meters deep.
Well then, we're just launching this week Virgin Connect in Russia, and you're going to be able to get all the TV channels on your phone. And anyway, this is the very first phone, so thank you very much.
So he will ask the last question. Какой вопрос последний? Подожди. Да нет. Подожди, нет, сейчас. Нет.
А вы когда-нибудь в Чеченской республике были?
Have you ever been to Chechnya? To Chechnya?
Are you inviting me? All right. That's it.
To Chechnya. It's the South Caucasus. Have you been to Caucasus?
No, I've been to Yalta, but not to Chechnya. No, but anyway, I'll come on there.
Richard, thank you so much for your time, for your inspiration. Thank you for being a role model for us. So this is a great audience. They're all looking to start a business. Maybe we finish with an inspiration. If you would be in the audience today and you would be a 20-year-old Russian, what would you do?
It's always difficult to sort of come up with one phrase that sums it up. But my favorite phrase is screw it, just get on and do it. And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Просто делай. Витя, thank you so much. Thank you. Спасибо. Все, подарок.